Welcome one, welcome all. Come closer to hear the cautionary tale about the town of Saleempur, where peace once did prevail. But something happened there, something evil, something wrong. To find out, pay attention to this journey of injustice. Come along, come along, come along.
Act 1. It was an ordinary evening, an ordinary dining table, where the ordinary old man with the secret sat. Little did he know what was to happen today, when his grandchild, like usual, began asking him questions.
Grandpa, where are we going for the summer holidays?
Where would you like to go? We can go wherever you want.
You said you grew up in a village. Why don't we go there this time? I've always longed to go to a village. Let's take a trip there this summer.
Oh, it's in ruins now, dear. I wouldn't want to take you there and you'd get bored.
But but I'm really curious about the place where you grew up.
Oh, it's an old and desolate place. Let's not bore ourselves talking about it.
Please, please, Grandpa, please tell me about it. I'm old enough to know.
Well, alright then. It's a long story. So sit tight. It all started many years ago.
And thus, the old grandfather began sharing the story which he had kept hidden in the corner of his heart for many years. As he described his village and its people, the child touched the cold river, smelt the wild flowers, and saw the golden fields. And in one such golden field worked Laxmi and her husband Pratap.
What a fine day.
You're right. Look at the crops in the field.
Well, I think the harvest will be good this season.
Indeed, but will we be able to pay off our mortgage and get our land back?
Don't worry about it, Lakshmi. We will figure it out together. Look at that. It's already noon. Why don't you get us some lunch? And don't forget my medicines too.
Yes, I'll get going.
As Lakshmi left to get lunch, Sethji, the landlord and one of the most powerful men of the village, came to talk to Pratap. Unbeknownst to the two of them, he and his men had been hearing their conversation.
Well, if it isn't my land looking so good with the crop ready for harvest.
Sub, it's still our land. We are still the rightful owners of this land. And this land is in the name of my wife.
Well, that won't last too long, right? You have to pay up within a week or this land will be mine.
That's ridiculous. Sab, you're already charging the interest at an exorbitant rate, which is unfair. You should at least wait till the harvesting season is over. Otherwise, I will be left with no choice but to approach the panchayat and lodge a complaint against you for harassing my family.
You! How dare you speak to me like this? You went against our traditions and married a lower caste woman. Those people cannot even look us in the eye when we talk to them or even pass by. Their only duty is to serve us.
How can you speak like this for my wife? I married her of my own will and I love and respect her. You have no right to say such things about my rightful wife. This shows your true character, and I'd even say that you are lower than any untouchable in this regard.
Your rightful wife? Her place is not in the field, but at our feet. How dare you slap me, you insolent wretch? What are you all looking at? Teach this pest the lesson of his life.
Sethji turned his back away as his men stabbed Pratap. They left Pratap bleeding, lying on his back as his blood spilt onto the land he had tilled for so many years. Meanwhile, Lakshmi came back with medicines and lunch.
Sonu's father is not well these days. Good that I brought the medicines with me, otherwise you'd have forgotten to take them on time. Where did he go? Sonu's father? Where are you? What's this red spot here? Blood? What has happened? Everybody lunch together. Look, I even bought your medicines. Who did this to you?
I, I've never, I've never associated you with your caste. You're strong. Take our, take our land back.
No, this can't be happening. You can't leave me like this. What will I do without you? What about Sonu? How will I raise him alone? How can you leave me like this?
As Lakshmi stared in disbelief about what had happened with her husband, Pushpa auntie, who was passing by the neighboring fields, saw Lakshmi, her hands red with blood, crying inconsolably.
The next day, the villagers gathered at Pratap's funeral. Lakshmi sobbed uncontrollably, watching the burning pyre of her husband. In this environment, hushed conversations began. Act 3.
Listen, come here. I need to tell you something.
What is it, Pushpa auntie?
You must not share this with anyone.
Arey, of course not.
Our lips are sealed, Auntie.
I saw her near Pratap's body. She was there.
Oh, who did you see?
Lakshmi. I saw it with my own eyes. I saw her doing something with the body.
What are you trying to say, Auntie?
I think I think she killed him. I had doubts on her since the day she came to this village. She's always doing odd things.
You're right, Auntie. This had to happen one day because that poor soul brought a lower caste woman in his home. Now see what happened to him.
I am telling you, she's always had her eyes on Pratap's property. Arey, she wanted him gone from the beginning so that she could have all this for herself.
Chudel, she's a witch. I know she is. Only a witch could do this. I am sure she had a hand in Pratap's death. She must have done some kala jadoo on him. Who kills their own husband?
Ram. You people have no shame at all. How can you talk so insensitively about Lakshmi? She just saw her husband's body being burned. She loved him more than life itself. She devoted her whole life to Pratap. Do you people hear yourselves? Just because she was near his body does not mean she killed him.
No, Bhuvan, you don't know what you're talking about. They're totally right. She's a witch and the one who is behind the death of her husband.
As the seeds of distrust were being sown into the villagers' minds, Sethji also joined the funeral.
May God give strength to the family of the deceased. Brothers, now where should I go? I had loaned money to Pratap, and he told me that he would repay me as soon as the crop would be harvested. But now, who will repay my debt? How can I ask this poor woman for money? I don't think I have any option left other than taking his land, or else I'll go bankrupt. Who will fill the empty mouths in my household?
Yes, take that witch's land. We must be careful with her. I have heard many things about women like her.
People of her position don't deserve own land anyways.
I say, we take her life too. Wonder what she could do to disturb the peace in this village.
We should get rid of her while we can. Let's go to the Sarpanch and ask for her to be hanged.
Yes.
Ha.
Yes,
Oh, ठीक है, it's decided then.
In about half a day's time, a large crowd gathered in front of the Sarpanch's house. Angrily, the mob shouted for justice. The Sarpanch, being a fair man, allowed them to present their demands. Act 4.
Sarpanji, now it's high time for you to take action against the murder of Pratap Singh.
Ha, Sarpanji, you should call for a panchayat meeting immediately and let justice be done to Pratap.
We must give Lakshmi a fair hearing, Sarpanchi. I think she...
No need to waste the Sarpanch's precious time in hearing these old hag and her lies. We must hang her at once to save our village from her curse.
Are we talking about Lakshmi here? The farmer's wife?
Absolutely, Sarpanji. We've been suspicious about her activities for a while now.
Why? I was under the impression that they were a fairly harmless couple.
That's her jadoo, sir. She's excellent at conjuring the shaitan. People say she gains her unnatural powers by drinking the blood of newborns.
That must be the reason for the increasing number of dead babies in this village. Just last week, my sister's son was born healthy, only to die within hours. This woman has cursed the bloodline of our families.
Perhaps we shouldn't pay heed to
Oh,
these
keep
rumors.
quiet,
A fair
Maheshwari.
trial.
If we waste any more time, this witch will cause chaos and destroy the values of this village.
But we must.
Enough. This is very concerning. Thank you for bringing it to my notice, my dear villagers. I won't let anarchy prevail over our beloved village. I want a meeting immediately. Please inform everyone of tomorrow's Sabha. Since this is a sensitive issue, I will expect the participation of each and every person.
The loud cheers of the crowd drowned any doubts of injustice in the villagers' minds. Meanwhile, a messenger carrying the summons of the panchayat left for Lakshmi's home.
Lakshmi sat mourning in her house. She had not really come to terms with what had happened. Bhuvan stood close by, unsure of how he could comfort her. He looked at her and Sonu, her son, who had not spoken anything since his father's death.
My life is over. I'm finished. What am I to do? No one will support a murderous widow. That's what they call me nowadays, right? How will I put food on our table and a roof over our heads?
Mother, you've brought this upon yourself. You didn't think of me at all. The Panchayat will know of your crimes. I hope they serve justice to my poor father.
My dear boy, surely you don't believe that I killed your father.
Of course you did. There were eyewitnesses. And you don't really expect me to believe that some goons entered our fields and randomly killed my father? He was a simple man with no enemies. You, on the other hand, were always after his money and property. You are a greedy, murderous woman.
Hold your tongue, boy. If you lost a father, your mother lost a husband too. Lakshmi, please be careful. I've heard people talking at the funeral. It's not safe for you any longer.
Yes, well, it shouldn't be safe for any criminals anywhere. And that's what my dear mother has become. As a responsible member of this village, it is my duty to surrender her to the Panchayat. Come, mother, it's time for you to confess to your heinous crimes.
No, please. I've been a good mother and wife and I won't have you accusing.
Come with me, keep quiet.
How dare you? No!
Lakshmi and Sonu began shouting at each other. How could her own blood talk to her like this? Thought Lakshmi. Little did she know that Sonu was hurting too. In all this commotion, a messenger arrived at their doorstep.
Namaste, Lakshmi ji. So sorry to hear of your loss. I'm here to inform you that you have been charged with witchcraft and the supernatural murder of your husband Pratap Singh. You are required to appear in the panchayat tomorrow morning for your trial.
Witchcraft? Postmaster Sahib, you've been close friends of ours for decades now. You've watched me and my husband toil day and night as we tilled the fields fertile and grew food for the entire village. Is this to be the reward for all my hard work?
I am merely a messenger, Lakshmi. Look, the atmosphere in the village is very tense. These people want justice, no matter the cost. I advise you to be present. Don't give them an excuse to punish you.
Whatever has happened to the villagers, Postmaster Sahib? Is there no justice left in our village anymore? The village I built my life in? I'll be there. Either I'll clear my name or I'll perish. But I'll not leave like a coward.
I will avenge your father. Don't worry.
Lakshmi silently began accepting the situation and regained her composure. Alone, she began preparing herself for what was going to be a life-changing day.
That fateful day, the sun rose the same and the wild dogs still barked. The birds still chirped and the rooster woke everybody up. But something was different. There was something in the air. Was it fear or excitement? Time flew and everybody gathered around in the panchayat for Lakshmi's trial. Act 5.
Today, we have gathered here for the trial of Lakshmi for the charges of witchcraft and supernatural murder. The case will be decided here and now by a righteous and honorable panchayat. If the charges are proven, she shall be hanged. For a fair trial, we shall hear both sides. The trial of this unholy act is being conducted under the eye of God. Let the dharma of our ancestors prevail. Lakshmi, this is your chance to erase the stain that has been put on your name for the cruel, cold-blooded murder of your husband. Do you wish to speak?
I didn't do it. My own husband. I loved him. Why would I?
Burn the witch.
Burn the witch. Burn the witch. Burn the witch.
But the witch. I didn't do anything. I saw my husband die in front of my very own eyes. You people are blinded by your hatred. Sarpanchi, if there was any other woman in my place, would you have accused her of killing her husband? I'm being accused because of my caste. I'd gone to get the medicines for the very husband you think I killed. Sarpanch Sahib, we have lived in this village peacefully for years. We have worked for you. We have been neighbors. I've been a good wife and you accuse me of killing him? Where's your humanity? I know you have already made your decision and I've made mine. I know I'll get my judgment in another life. But remember, there'll be blood on your hands.
Enough, Chidel. You've said too much. How dare you disrespect the will of the people? All of us know people like you do dark magic to do your dark deeds. We should have never let Pratap marry you and curse our village. Who do you think you are?
We should at least listen to her and understand what happened that day. Sarpanchi, we must give her a fair chance.
No. The matter has already been decided by the people. She was, is, and will be a witch. We must teach her and others like her a lesson which they shall not forget. I say we hang her.
This village has never approved of this marriage. She had become too big for her boots.
If we don't teach her lesson now, what will people like her do to our village? We must protect our people from such dirt.
But I'm still not convinced with what happened that day. All of us know that relations between Pratap and Sethi were deteriorating. Why don't we ask him what happened?
Sethi, what do you have to say about this?
Sarpanji, I am with the people. I know she's Pratap's murderer. The witch wanted his land and killed him, and my men and I saw her do it. The majority is never wrong, Sarpanch Sahab. She must be hanged. She must be hanged.
Hang her!
Hang her! Hang her! Hang her!
We are killing an innocent woman over baseless rumors.
Why are you siding with her? Are you also?
Murmuring begins.
Of course he is. He has been defending her all this while. He must have been involved with the children. I say we hang him too.
Hang them! Justice for Pratap!
Justice for Pratap! Justice for Pratap!
I have made my decision. After hearing both sides, I have come to the conclusion that we must listen to the public. The will of the people is the will of God. And thus, by the powers vested in me by the village of Saleempur, I order Lakshmi and Bhuvan to be hanged.
The crowd roared with excitement as Bhuvan shouted in disbelief. Lakshmi had already accepted her fate and surrendered herself. But she was not sad. She knew she would be judged fairly one day. Not here in this mortal world of hatred and prejudice, but somewhere else. She could not name it, yet she knew. She knew. There was an uncomfortable silence when the old man finished his tale. The child, as if in a daze, stared into space, still thinking about the gruesome acts of injustice he had heard. He came back to reality and slowly spoke.
Grandpa, I'm speechless. I thought that such things happened in ancient ages, not in the modern world with phones, books, and computers.
You are right. These things should not happen in the world. However, the world we live in is a stage. On the outside, the world puts up an act for everyone to see, a shiny facade. But behind the curtain, deep inequalities pervade society, spreading like plague.
Grandpa, what became of the village? Its rivers, fields, where you've spent your childhood? And what happened to the rest of the villagers?
After the incident, something different happened. A feeling of uneasiness and mistrust swept over the villagers in a wave of ill feeling. They began to accuse each other of petty offenses, even accusing each other of witchcraft as cover for their personal petty quarrels, even accusing each other of witchcraft, land, money, and whatnot. In the eye of revenge, madness swept over the entire village and consumed the villagers like fire, leaving only dust and ruins in its wake.
Did anyone attempt to perhaps restore peace? Was Bhuvan really hanged?
Oh, alas, the poor man was hanged during the trial. He was accused of insanity and then eventually of aiding the woman. Some villagers ran away after the trial. Eventually, the police aid refused to arrest anyone, for which he too was expelled from the village. Now, no one lives there. It's former residents only, the ones who are still alive, do not want to recall the traumatic memories of that place.
Grandpa, what happened to that rude boy Sonu, the son of the widow?
Ah, that foolish boy is your grandfather, my child, standing in front of you, spending every day regretting those shameful words that came out of his mouth for the woman who had loved him, the brave, remarkable woman who he had accused of being a witch. Oh, what have I done?
And so, this was the tale of Saleempur, where peace once did prevail.
A small lie, engulfing hatred, their minds became frail.
Lives taken and lives lost. Old friends cost, at what cost?
Was there justice in who won in the end?
No winners, only mistakes even time couldn't mend. So, listeners, remember this unfortunate tale about the town of Saleempur, where peace once did prevail.
The end.